King Kong in the trunk.
I'm back. Rhodes rants on utter nonsense. And this utter nonsense involves Mr. Sam Witwer. Now, the other day I made a video in which there was a quote taken from Mr. Witwer during a Twitch live stream in which he said The Last Jedi felt like a movie that was made by somebody that did not do their Star Wars homework. I made a follow-up video yesterday evening to said video because a lot of people that like The Last Jedi came through that and was like, what's the full context? Well, yesterday the full context came out. Before we get to that, there was an exchange between one of our own, the beloved Ichibaka, and Mr. Witwer yesterday. And what I think Mr. Witwer did was something that was completely out of bounds. Oh, dude, this wasn't what I said. I went on to express whether something is my cup of tea or not. The contribution of Rian Johnson helped Star Wars continue. Please don't clickbait. Interesting. You said TLJ to you felt like a movie made by a guy who hadn't quite done his homework. Rian Johnson is the guy that made that movie. Clickbait my ass, dude. Clickbait is when somebody takes a soundbite or a piece of a quote that doesn't reflect the overall sentiment to inspire outrage that leads to greater web traffic. So yeah, man, if there was more to what I said, it's clickbait. You're incorrect. There isn't anything clickbaity about it. You referred to the guy who made the movie. The guy who made the movie is Rian Johnson. This isn't rocket science. It is remedial English. Familiarize yourself with it, replied the great Ichibaka. Now, Mr. Witwer, as I showed in yesterday's video, and yes, a cat just came through my video, I don't care. I rescue animals. Anybody that doesn't like that, kiss my ass 3 consecutive goddamn times. And in case you're noticing, Rhodes is a little fired up this morning about said situation because I've had about enough of it. Mr. Witwer, on the left, as presented in my videos yesterday, is the full context of what you said. I'm not going to read it again because it's all in a video that I read. But there are two full paragraphs of you completely dismantling The Last Jedi. Own your shit. There is another paragraph in which you talk about the fact that you do not like The Rise of Skywalker. These 3 paragraphs are from your Twitch live stream. That is what you referred to as, and all the people that came through that wanted to defend The Last Jedi and Rian Johnson, their beloved Rian Johnson, wanted context. Well, you got it. Look, Sam Witwer, you said this shit. And I get it. Up in the corner of my screen, there is a snippet from a video of a channel that I follow called Blue Collar Logic, in which Dave Morrison made a video referring to the Hollywood blacklist then and now. There used to be a Hollywood blacklist. There is another one now. The one now is conservatives in Hollywood that are having to live in hiding. They're hiding their political beliefs, okay? Now, you may be like, well, why is this being brought up? Because the fact is, the Fandom Menace, of which Ichibaka is a part of, and this side of the community, everybody believes we're all a bunch of conservative lunatics. Funny, I started my channel, I was in fact voting liberal, voting Democrat at the time. And a point that when you bring it up in comments, a lot of people want to ignore. Well, what does that mean? Well, you came on here because you thought I was a conservative asshole. Now, do I vote conservative now? Yeah, I'm back to the other side of the coin because I think Hollywood and a certain section of America has lost their mind. But I still think it's the fringes. I think most people are actually in the middle. I bring that up because I understand you don't want to be a part of the Hollywood blacklist. In other words, if you agree with the Fandom Menace, you think you will be lumped into this quote-unquote blacklist are the toxic side of the Star Wars fandom. Maybe that's the other way. Now, there's a lot of misconceptions about this community. Number one, they think we hate gays, lesbians, anybody part of the alphabet community. They think we're a bunch of racists. Look, there are a ton of gays, lesbians, and bisexuals in the Fandom Menace. Also, and by the way, you guys don't know that because it's none of your damn business. That's the way we all feel about this stuff. It's none of your damn business unless said people want to let you know it. The other misconception is this community is full of a bunch of racists. There is literally a show on Drunk 3PO's channel called The Dark Council full of black dudes that don't like the direction of Star Wars. Again, another misconception. Why? Because toxic Twitter has told people so. You guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Now, back to Mr. Witwer. Here is my issue. At what point are you assholes going to show a pair of nuts? Are you that scared that you have to try to backtrack and backspin and twirl and olay your comments because you're scared to be seen as somebody that aligns with this fandom? You hated a movie. So did we. You hated the direction of a movie. So did we. That's okay, is what that is. And here's my issue. You said it. And not only did you say it, but you try to attack somebody in our community for some shit you brought up and you talked about. That's bullshit, Mr. Witwer. It's chicken shit, as we would say in Texas. Own your shit. How about that? Own it. You made the comments. You get to lay in the bed you made. Now, I understand. I'm sure somebody from Lucasfilm, I think in my first video, I even said you may come back and try to spin this or backtrack on it because you're going to get your ass in a bind. I get that. But look, which faction do you want? The faction that actually cares about what happens to Star Wars? Or the faction that just wants a bunch of political nonsense in their movies and they don't give a fuck what the story is? Honestly, I watched the Mandalorian documentary, episode 1 last night. And what I found was there are people employed by Lucasfilm that love Star Wars deeply. Still. And that's a good thing. Mr. Witwer, be part of those people. That's a good thing. And do you know what we do with those people? We reward them by watching their product when it's good and when it's true to Star Wars. When it's not, like The Rise of Skywalker, like The Last Jedi, they did not get repeat visits from a great majority of the fandom, which is why neither one of the movies performed nearly as well as The Force Awakens. You obviously did not like the direction of either one of those movies either. And now to Kathleen Kennedy. Kathleen Kennedy. It is my gut feeling that you have literally sent out a memo, had meetings, sent it through channels, emails, however you've had to do it, that have literally told people, if we find out you align with a certain side of the fandom, we will no longer let you work or be involved with Lucasfilm products. That is my gut feeling. And I think that's what happens with things like this. There's been a lot of after-the-fact dissatisfaction with this sequel trilogy. Mark Hamill's brought it up. John Boyega's brought it up. Sam Witwer, you brought it up. Whether you like it or not, you brought it up. It doesn't matter if somebody asked during your Twitch stream, you answered, and you answered in great detail, sir. Own it. You got to understand, we make up about 6 out of every 10 fans in this community. Look, you helped give us the Clone Wars, and we celebrated it. The ending arc was some of the best Star Wars we've ever gotten, and we appreciate that. We do. We appreciate your performance. We appreciate the work you put into it. But do not attack us because we help pay your bills. And that is a big deal to us. We can give a vote of no confidence and cut those payments off. At some point, you and that studio will have to course correct. You will go extinct. Because the money will dry up. Quit not taking responsibility for your shit. Own it. At some point, one of you guys has got to stand up. Because KK and her minions will eventually be gone. Tell me what you think, Rhodes Squadron. I say what Mr. Witwer did was horse shit. Own your shit, Mr. Witwer. Y'all go check out Ichibaka's blog. Disney Star Wars is dumb. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
King Kong in the